What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to an animated short called Cosmic Ninjutsu Inscriptions, Havoc, Exorcism, Lunar, Vileslayer, Scroll. What a mouthful. So obviously this is going to be some kind of animated short for Rappa. Based on just the thumbnail alone, I'm really intrigued by the art style here. It is honestly giving me some WarioWare vibes from some of the NPC characters we have here. So yeah, let's just get into it. Let's see how it is. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into this. Ooh. Okay, I already love this aesthetically. Okay, this has to do with all the monkey shit. Good thing I have the subtitles.
I call myself the Dazzling Ninja Hero!
Oh, this looks so nice.
Dazzling Ninjutsu, Myriad Colors Burst!
Oh, this looks so fun.
A fiend scent lies over the Tenshu! Scram! Hunt complete. Wait, what?
What? The moon? Oh my god, it's a banana. Jesus.
What kind of evil ninja puppet is this? Softly, softly.
God, this looks so good. The music's also really solid.
It's time. Prepare to utter your final word!
Ooh, I love the colors.
Secret technique. Dazzling
Oh.
obliteration.
God, they went so hard. They went so hard on the initials.
Culmination.
God, that looks good. Penaconi. To be continued. Okay. That was really fucking cool. I absolutely love the art style of this. Having watched it, this reminds me, aesthetically speaking, of, though I haven't actually seen it, Panty and Stocking, the anime. It sort of has some of that style as well, I'd say. Though I haven't actually seen that show, so I can't say for certain how true that is. I've just seen some clips and some of the art. But regardless, I really love the style of this. They really had fun with how fluid they could be with all of it. A lot of it's really cartoony, especially like in the beginning here. They just clearly had a lot of fun with the art. And just all of the aesthetic of the color choices and the motion of everything. It just is really fun. I really enjoy it. And it also is colors-wise very in line with Rappa's whole deal, with her having all these vibrant colors associated with all of her moves and attacks and stuff. Now, the main thing I'm curious about, which we'll inevitably probably never get a real answer for, but I'm still curious nonetheless, is how literal of a scenario this is. Like, is this something that actually happened at some point? Or is this just a nonsensical random scenario for fun? Because I honestly don't know which one it is. Because like, this bullshit is absurd. It is the most insane shit ever. But we also have seen the version trailer, and there's some bullshit with monkeys there as well. But regardless, what we see here is a city in chaos, people being turned into monkeys, joining the hordes of other monkeys that are just overrunning the entire place, using bananas as guns, it looks like. And we have a big bruiser type monkey here, sort of leading the pack, firing what look like monkey missiles. Just insane shit. But I love aesthetically all this. There's a bit of a like samurai design to the helmet and stuff, matching with the building styles. It's all in line with more of the ninja aesthetics and vibes that Rappa does, which leads me to potentially an interpretation of this, which is all how Rappa views this entire scenario, and it isn't quite as absurd and weird as it is here, but something along these lines did happen and she did step in to save the people or whatever. I could very much see that, given that we already have learned that Rappa as a person views the entire world in this very ninja-centric way of looking at things, so perhaps this is sort of her own interpretation of reality. But regardless, we see this woman trip, about to be turned into a monkey, but as she cries out no, we have the monkeys, which just say nonsense, but via subtitles we can see what they actually mean, say, feel the might of Primitive, which immediately brings to mind Dr. Primitive, who, if I understand lore correctly, is sort of responsible for a lot of this bullshit with monkeys going on overall, regardless of if he is directly responsible for what is happening here and what will end up happening in 2.6. He is the root cause of this, and at least in whatever interpretation of reality this is, if it is reality, much more directly. But I'm not certain on the exact lore of Primitive's whereabouts or what he's doing. But regardless, that does bring it all back to Dr. Primitive being at the core of this random issue with monkeys and everything. But as the girl's about to be turned into a monkey, the two little henchmen get taken down by some shurikens, as we have a blade come down, and we have the silhouette of Rappa having arrived on the scene, standing on the gate. The monkeys call out who's there, and she introduces herself. Greetings, I call myself the dazzling ninja hero. As we have great bits of scarf animation as she comes down. There's just a lot of really fun aesthetic stuff with the animation and colors. It all is just really working well. It is really fun. And we can see here that as she introduces herself, everyone behind her, rather than running in fear, is now looking at her admirably, cheering her on. And then we have this cool little bit of animation as she's moving around, and I actually want to, so there's points in this where there's more than one of her in frame, which is curious. Based on the motion that's going on here, I can't imagine this is meant to be her just moving so fast that she's leaving after images, but rather some kind of weird power or illusion or something. To reference the only other ninja thing that comes to mind, maybe this is a shadow clone or whatever the fuck. But I'm not entirely sure, and it's only there for that like brief moment, so I'm not sure if that's meant to be an actual power or just an aesthetic choice. But then she calls out one of her moves, get the great splash of color. Having blasted away the main threat in the area, she recognizes, there's something more dangerous up there. A fiendling scent lies over the Tenshu. So she goes to deal with it, jumping up to the roof, where we get what I can only imagine is her interpretation of Dr. Primitive, or at the very least, if not her interpretation, the interpretation of this art style. As I sort of doubt that Rappa has fought Dr. Primitive, but maybe she has, and that's a bit of lore for us to learn here. But regardless, I'm gonna call them Dr. Primitive because they seem doctory, and they talk doctory, but they are a monkey. So, Dr. Primitive here says, you interrupted the experiment, past prepare to pay the price, setting up that this is the main antagonist going on. They have like test tubes and stuff behind them that look like they're hooked up to them, which is interesting. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but I can't help but notice that vaguely speaking, we have sort of a inverse development of man type thing going on here, as this looks like pretty much a normal person and it has a full banana with peel, and then this one we can just see it's a little more hunched and it looks like they might have like a club or stick or something, so more caveman-y, and the banana has its peel open a little bit. Can't really tell what's going on with the banana here, but it's even less like actually human. And then this one is the most hunched of all, more monkey-like with a fully peeled banana, which is interesting because what that immediately leads me to think is this idea that Dr. Primitive literally wants us to all to return to monkey, which other than just being a meme is an interesting thing if that is actually the case of what he is trying to achieve, is to reverse evolution in a sense. Because I would not be surprised if that is what he's attempting to do. All of the geniuses are fucking weird. It wouldn't be the first time in Star Rail that one of the geniuses does something for scientific purposes that probably is detrimental to the world. But regardless, Rappa is coming in and is interrupting the experiment, whatever it may have been. But Rappa is just not having any of it, punches him in the jaw and says, enough talk, scram, flinging him up into the sky. And as she is about to call out hunt complete, Seemingly, that's just her way of calling that she's finished a job or whatever. She realizes something's off as the moon falls, revealing it is actually a giant mechanical banana that was in the sky for some reason. At which point, Dr. Primitive calls for the power of all his comrades to join together in a vaguely Voltron-esque mech transformation, or Gurren Lagann if you want to be anime, like more anime, as we get this whole transformation sequence into this mech, explosions in the background, at which point, completely unharmed by the chaos, Rappa just lands above it and sort of casually says, what kind of evil ninja puppet is this? And then we just get this really cool sequence of her on her skateboard thing as just this beautiful shot happens, but the blade just sort of bounces off of it. Its defenses are too strong. Bouncing towards the screen, great dynamic shot as the mech turns around, about to do a big cannon blast. Colors go crazy, and then we have her just taking over the entire thing as she says, "It's time, prepare to utter your final words." She splits it into 3 blades, colors go absurd, just completely vibrant, and it all comes down to this horizontal slash cutting the entire mech apart as it becomes nothing but black and red. Really solid visuals, and it just holds here for a moment. And then we just, while we hold on this shot, have this insane thing of Dr. Primitive, within the mech presumably, saying his final lines as he effectively admits defeat, saying, "Plucked like a banana, eaten like a banana, such is the life of a monkey. The experiment was merely a dream within the peel." So much like some of the lines in the version trailer, that is a fucking insane way to put that, but is very classic, like, villain about to die, realizing their folly and going, it was all for naught, and then falling over dead, but in a vaguely poetic way. But in this case, it's all fucking bananas and monkeys. But we have incredibly solid visuals on top of all of it with fun colors. All of it is just valuing the imagery and feel above the literal representation of anything. And then we have this moment where it's all black and white. All those slashes were further cuts through it. Only the shadow and Rappa herself are in color. She lands, she calls out a secret technique. As suddenly, we have that dynamic lettering before we get this incredibly scribbly, super vibrant, flaming explosion of this mech in the background as Rappa is there in a slightly more sketchy form, just confidently looking off into the distance. This is one of the best shots of this animation for sure. It's absurd. I absolutely love this, visually speaking. And then she says her line, "Hunt culmination." And then she looks over her shoulder, sees all the devastation, and we have this image of Penacony and implication that perhaps the monkeys might be going there, or maybe that's just graffiti that happened on a poster. Either way, signs of Rappa coming to Penacony is what this leaves us on as she wanders forward. She cuts that up and then jumps across the rooftops, heading to wherever her next destination is. Her journey is to be continued, and that's where they leave us. This is a really fun short. I've been very curious the past couple days if they were going to give anything like this or a Myriad Celestia trailer to Rappa, because she both seems like a very cool character, and the fact that she has to carry all of this version on her back when it comes to limited character releases. But on the other hand, she seemed like a character that was fairly disconnected from major lore things. So I feel like this kind of thing is sort of the perfect thing for them to do for her character. It really leans in as hard as possible into her aesthetic and is ultimately not too important to the lore while also just being cool. It sort of rides that line of being cool and hype and really dynamically interesting visually while also not really sweating the lore, while also not outright disregarding it either. So yeah, this is sort of all I hoped for coming from this kind of thing. I'm very curious to see if any of this kind of energy will be seen in her demo. Presumably her demo will be a bit more traditional for a demo just with her stylings, but either way, I am very much looking forward to it now that I've seen this. But with that, I don't really have anything else to say about it other than it's great, and I really enjoyed it. So feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day, and goodbye.